Oh, hello there. Fancy meeting you here. I think a lot of us are feeling eco-anxiety right now, especially with the recent reports from the UN and just stuff that's been going on in the world. It's hard to relax about it because yes, we can do things individually that make a difference and reduce our waste, which is super, super important, but there's also system issues. Greta Thunberg said it really well when she was talking about the fairy tale of eternal economic growth. A lot of the world's leaders right now seem to be more focused on GDP, putting money in their own pockets, and fueling the industries, pun not intended, rather than the betterment of society and creating a sustainable future for future generations. We know that the world can't heat more than the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold because certain things will happen in the world that will be irreversible, like inhabitable cities and more extinctions of animals. We don't know what could happen if we lose certain animals within our ecosystems. Just like, how do world leaders see that stuff and think, oh, it's okay to do what I'm doing? Are they really that greedy? And do they really care more about what they're providing money-wise than what's going on and what matters most? It's crazy. So frustrating. I mean, I'm doing what I can personally. I don't eat meat, so I'm a vegetarian, and I know to a lot of you vegans out there, you'll be pretty upset that I'm a vegetarian, but for now it works for me. And I'm doing it because of the agricultural industry and all of its effects on the environment, let alone the space in the world that it takes up. I agree with free range and local cattle, poultry, eggs, all that stuff, as long as it's not being mass produced and sent over from seas, etc., because that's what's ruining our planet. And I understand that there's 7 billion of us, so they want to try to produce products at such a rate that it can reach all of us. But I think we're also super focused on materialism and consumerism. There are things we don't need. People will go out there and get the newest, best technology or brand name clothes because that takes priority over the environment, or maybe you're just not thinking about what's going on if you're doing this. Christmas is a great example. Like, how many people go out and buy all these things, then they don't go to use, or they're getting rid of products that are totally useful and work, like an old iPhone, and they're getting a new one, and then what are they doing with that old one? And continuing on and buying from these brand names lets them continue, and it's just a cycle of production and waste. Get somebody something cute from a secondhand shop and wrap it in like newspaper or something that's already out there and in your house. Get creative. Same goes with Black Friday. Like, people are just focused on getting the best, coolest things rather than enjoying what they have and taking into account the effect that that could have on the environment. It's just really, really frustrating. Other things that I do, I mean, I use reusable bottles, so I don't have to use plastic water bottles when I'm refilling and I need to quench my thirst. But again, like cars and all of that stuff, it needs to be changed from a higher up level. It's hard because there is the science to back it up, but they're just so focused on the money now that they're not going through with it. I think it's time that a world leader steps up and says, okay, this is it. Jacinda Ardern, New Zealand's Prime Minister, is a great example of effective leadership. When that mass shooting happened at the mosque, she showed support to the Muslim community in a very thoughtful way. She stood with them in solidarity and changed gun laws to prevent that happening in the future. And she also just passed like a climate emergency bill talking about reducing waste and green economies. And she's a woman, so to people who say that women can't be leaders, I just think in the Western world, like here in North America, there needs to be a new leader that's like, okay, this is what matters, social issues and the environment. Cool. One day I hope that I can do homesteading. If you don't know what that is, it's like living off your land and growing your own produce, trying to be as zero waste as possible. It's hard to be perfectly zero waste, so as long as you're trying your hardest, that's what matters. But it would just be so nice to have this cute little cottage and grow your own squash and... what else do I eat? You know what I mean. So I just rambled at you for the duration of this video. So as long as we're doing what we can to make differences and try to speak out to the system and say, hey, we need a change, then we're doing all we can. It's just stressful to think about, but I do have faith that we will wake up and fix it. That's it for this video. I will see you soon, and I hope you have a lovely week. Toodles!